What is up, guys? I am back. This is just gonna be like 3 games, and I'm just gonna talk about some of the shit we got up to in the summer, and that's gonna be it. So basically, over summer, I had a bunch of friends that were going traveling around Europe, and they invited me to join them at the 6-day festival in Hungary called Sziget Festival, or Ziget Festival. Kind of, it's spelled weirdly. Anyway, 6-day festival, absolutely nuts. I'll get into it, but some of those days I've never been that drunk in my life, to the point where I fell over and stopped remembering things, but we'll get on to that. Anyway, so I think it was on about so it was due to go from the 10th to the 15th of August, so I met them out in Vienna on the 7th, stayed a couple of nights with them in Vienna, and Vienna was fucking hilarious. So we finally met up to finish our beer of the day. So what we'd been doing was, since I think 10th of July, we'd had a group chat of me and 3 other friends, and every single day we'd posted a video of us having a beer a day, with the date captioned, and then we're gonna make it into a fat video at the end, which I have already done. I can play possibly a clip of it, but anyway, we finally met up, all 4 of us, after about just under a month of doing it, which was really nice. We did that on the first night. Did a bit of beer pong, and quite a bit to drink, but then just chilled and went to bed. And then the second night, is where the stuff gets funny. Right, so we go to this club, and well, firstly we realised a bunch of them were closed, so we were looking for this club, and a bunch of them found a club, so we all got an Uber there, and getting there as well, we ordered. The group kind of got split up. There were in total possibly 15 to 20 of us, and it ended up 9 of us getting split up. The others all made it to the club, and 9 of us were waiting. So we ordered 2 cabs. Now the issue was these cabs were 4-seater cabs, 1 in the front, 3 in the back. So 4 went in the first one, and it left us 5, and we sort of thought, well, how are we going to do this? So we put one of the girls in the front, and we said to her, flirt all you can, alright, we're going to distract him. So 3 of them hop in the back. By the way, when he pulls up, I'm hiding behind another car. So he sees 4 of them get in, the 1 in the front, 3 in the back, and those 3 budge up, and I then climb into it. They close the door, and I keep my head down in my hands, so when he looks back through his wing mirror, he can't see, because I'm sitting behind his seat. So he's not going to be able to look around anyway. So we end up getting to the club. We all get out, and he's like, what the fuck? And we then just leg it. I mean, obviously it's prepaid, but we leg it. We got to this club, and we were there for, I think, possibly midnight until about 2 or 3. Dancing with a bunch of friends. I knew some of them. I didn't know all of them, because they were friends of friends, so I knew a few of them. And what was one of the funny things that happened actually is just outside the club, in the smoking area, we all sat down, a bunch of us, just having a fag, and there was like this leftover pizza that someone had left on the street, and I got dared to eat some of it, so obviously being in a fairly drunken state, pick it up, whack it in my mouth, have a bite. Didn't actually taste too bad, but all the girls looked at me and were like, you are fucking disgusting. All the guys gave me a high five and were like, you're a fucking legend. So yeah, that was good fun. Then a lot of people started getting Ubers home. Well, actually, I think Uber's kind of illegal in that country, but it was some equivalent taxi like type thing. And there were these Lime scooters you could rent, which is essentially, it's like an electric scooter, and you can just go wherever the fuck you want. And me and I think 3 other people were like, oh yeah, we'll do that, fuck the Uber, this will be cheaper. I didn't have the app on my phone, so I stood on the back of my friend. I'll put a video of that on now. I think I did put it in the sort of what have I been up to in the last year, in my last video. And so I was on the back of his scooter, so like, pretty much I could only have one leg on, and the other leg was just hanging off, and I was just holding on to him. And then a bunch of the girls started following us, and to be honest, we didn't really want to see them, so we went to this park, sort of watched the sun slightly come up, all sat there talking. I think they were all on something. They offered me whatever it was, I forget, but I didn't take it. I was happy with the level of drunk I was on, and had a few fags as well. You know, it was very, very chilled. And some of these guys I'd never met before, but really, really nice guys. And we had such a laugh. And the girls did eventually find us. So and they had a couple of creepy guys following them. So they were walking, by the way, they weren't on scooters. So we went home with them. Or like they were at a different hostel to us. So me and my friend, just the two of us were at a separate one, and these guys were all at the same one. So we sort of followed them home, like went with them, if that makes sense. And we got to theirs, and we realised it was about, I think 50-minute walk home. I should say that my friend's phone had run out, so he couldn't then activate his scooter, so we literally had no scooter, either of us. So it was about a 50-minute walk home. So we start walking one way, and we're like, oh, you know, it's 4 o'clock in the middle of Vienna, you know, middle of Europe. We'll enjoy a nice stroll home. We start walking one way. Google Map recalibrates. Just realise we've gone the wrong way, and we've got it's about an hour and 10 minute walk home. We're like, fuck. So we were then wandering around the streets of Vienna as the sun had risen up. No one about. It's like one of the most mad things I've ever done. Middle of this massive city, very famous, and no one about, not a person in sight. And we were just walking along, laughing, and then we were both quite tired as well. And the way we managed to get home was, luckily, one of the girls at our hostel happened to be still awake. She called us an Uber, because his phone was dead and my phone was dying. So yeah, we managed to just escape home, but very, very funny experience. And so then after that, a couple nights, so we did that night, and then one more night, well, we didn't go out, but we just chilled. And the next day we travelled to Budapest, which is where the festival was. And most of us were due to be camping. Me and, I think it was 3 of my best mates, and then one of theirs girlfriends. We were all sort of camping together. So out together. First night goes by, I think, who was on? Dua Lipa was on. Milky Chance was on that day. Oh my god, bro. Me and my friends, we fucked with Milky Chance so hard. Like, he was probably my favourite performer of the 6 nights. He was on the very first act, which was really good.
So let's go back to our good club on a big shit afternoon. I feel like these feet up when the beating stadium. So let's go back to our good club on a big shit afternoon. I feel like these feet.
And so yeah, nothing too dramatic happened that night. Second night though, we had Bastille, who famously did Pompeii. That was really good. And the main event was Kings of Leon, who, you know, Sex on Fire, really good song. So that was a laugh. But the issue was, me and 2 friends, we decided that was the night we were going to get absolutely hammered. So there were these buckets you could buy that. They were 2 litre bucket. You could buy a 1 litre bucket or 2 litre bucket. We decided to buy a 2 litre because, you know, we're idiots. And there were 2 bottles of Coke in it, which is sort of the mixer, and then the rest of it, there's sort of vodka, tequila, sambuca, Jaeger. There's as much shit in that as you can possibly imagine, all into one. We all got a straw, and then we were just drinking it. And before Bastille, I think we had 2 buckets, because we were like, fuck it, another bucket. That's 4 litres of spirits in us right now. So we're all there feeling very, very good. Bastille played. We go back out, have another bucket. Because, you know, we're like, yeah, you know, 6 litres, who's that going to hurt? Then go up to Kings of Leon, and towards the end of that, this other guy has got pills. I didn't entirely know what they were, but he did say that MDMA, or MD, which is, I'm not entirely sure of the difference, but it's ecstasy pretty much. I also didn't entirely know what the effects of that were, or the come down of that was, but regardless, we were all like, you only live once, you're only 19 once, fuck it, let's have it. So, we then get this bright idea after Sex on Fire to then have another 2 buckets. So, in total that night, that's 10 litres, and by the last 2 buckets, she was like, I haven't got enough Coke. And we were like, fuck it, put more spirits in, don't put any Coke in. So we were having straight spirits for 4 litres. And between the 3, by that last bucket, we'd take a big sip, walk away, throw up, beat our chests and go, we keep drinking, and then take another sip and repeat for that entire bucket. So yeah, really, really unhealthy. My throat was fucked in the morning. And rightly so, that was just not a great experience.
Like, this is 2 1 litres.
There's meant to be coke in there. Look how clear it is. Look how clear it
There's
is.
no coke, it's pure spirits.
Oh shit.
There's pure vodka, sambuca, tequila. Fuck. Between the three of us.
There's no coke in there.
Anyway, so one of those guys that I was drinking those things with, I'm going to call him James, he, I think he was really, really gone that night. So the other friend, Nick, and then one of the other guys who were camping with, Benji, they carried it back to his tent. And they had, you know, their hands full with him. So they said to me, Nick gave me his bum bag, which had his passport and his phone in it. And he was like, Bax, can you look after this? I was like, yeah, sure. So I'm just sat there, and they're like, wait here, we'll come back. Now, the issue is that I don't remember them doing that to me. So when Benji called me from his phone saying, have you got Nick's bum bag? I didn't remember him giving it to me, so I was like, fuck no. He said, have you got his passport? I said, no. They said, you got his phone? I was like, no. And they called me and they were really pissed at me. They were like, what the fuck have you done? How have you lost this? Like, you know, what's he going to do? He's going to be stranded here. And I was like, sorry. Because, you know, I was absolutely gone at this point. Anyway, they're messaging me for about 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I then think to myself, let me just check. So I look down, because all I had to do was just look down on myself, across my shoulder, to see if I had his bum bag. It turns out I did. I just don't remember him giving it to me. So then I I call them and I go, oh, actually, I do have it. Don't worry, all safe. And they're like, all right, fine, we're heading to bed. Can you get home? And I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. So turns out I wasn't fine. It took me about an hour to get home. I was wandering around the festival in the middle of Budapest with no one I knew. And I think I fell over at one point. I started crying at one point as well. I'll put the video of it on, but you can see on that side of my face. That side of my face is not a shadow. That's dirt from where I fell on the floor. I also got these 2 French guys came up to us. Oh, we had an amazing conversation with them. They spoke in English, but like pretty crap English. We spoke in really crap French, and we completely understood each other. Maybe it was the alcohol, I don't know. And they had this lipstick on their ears, and they were like, do you want some? And I was like, fuck it, yeah, of course. So they painted lipstick on my ears, so I woke up in the morning, my ears were red, and I don't really remember how it happened, but I sort of eventually pieced together tonight. And I understood what happened there. So yeah, and then the thing with ecstasy is that the come down on that is awful. So because it enriches your serotonin levels, or not entirely sure, but I think it does that, and it essentially makes any sort of happy things you have in your body, enriches them, so it makes you insanely happy, insanely like bubbly, like want to just like party and that sort of shit. But then because it's enriched them and made them so full, then the next few days you're at an all-time low on your happiness levels, so it makes you really depressed for the next few days. And that's what I was going through. So the next few nights I didn't drink. I think the next night was Justin Bieber. He was alright. I'm not a huge Justin Bieber fan. He wasn't particularly good live, but regardless, you know, still good to have seen him. The next night was Calvin Harris. He was really good. Nothing too major happened on those nights. The second last night, Tame Impala, who I didn't really know at the time. I know a bit about them now, really like them. And they were really good. One of my friends got really drunk, so we kind of had to look after him. And this guy I met on the train there, called, what was his name? Oh, his name was Charlie. He was from New Zealand. And his friends were there they said to him, we're going to be there for the 13th and the 15th. So he booked 13th to 15th, but it turns out they were only there for the 13th and the 15th. So on that second last night, he was there on his own. So I said, you know what, come chill with us. A really lovely guy, helped look after my friend, even though I didn't really know him. So that's an amazing thing that he's done for us there. And so yeah, that was a decent night. He had a great time. We looked after my friend and then went out and partied for a bit, after the music, obviously. And then that leads me on to the final night. Arctic Monkeys were the final night. Honestly amazing. Love the Arctic Monkeys. 505 was probably my favourite song of theirs. I pretty much filmed the whole thing. I was just absolutely like amazed by them. And yeah, that sorts that out. And then most people went off to different countries after that. I stayed on in Budapest for a couple more nights just to sort of recover. And we got to a hostel. They were like, oh, it's overbooked. We were like, well, right, what the fuck do we do? And they were like, no, we can give you this spare room in an apartment of this guy at uni. Me and my friend, it's just 2 of us at this point. I'm like, all right, fine. Anyway, he then gets a call. So we get there. He gets a call from his family saying, we're having a sort of like gathering in Sweden. Do you want to come meet us out there? And he's like, yeah, sure. So we organised that. He's going to go to Sweden. And while he's doing that, we were going to go to Germany together, but I go to Germany with 2 other people. And then I'd meet him in Amsterdam. So on that final night, it was just me. And this guy, Charlie, who I met a couple of nights ago, was still there. And I was like, oh, do you want to meet up for a drink? And he's like, yeah, perfect. And we go to this bar. And we start off on a couple of pints. Now, I was like, I don't really know the drinks that well here. What do you recommend? He said, this beer is about 6 to 6.5%, which is a lot for a beer. He's like, this will get us fucked. Have a great time. I was like, all right, fine. So we had 3 of those each. And then they weren't a couple, but it was this man and woman in their mid-30s. They were like, oh, do you want to play us at table football? Loser pays for shots. So we did. We ended up going, I think, 8-4 down, and we won it 10-8, so fuck them. And they were like, they paid us for our shots. They bought us 3 shots each, so we were like, oh, God, okay, here we go. And we did another game, and we won that game as well, and they said, last game, double or nothing. And we were like, fuck it, yeah. So we won the last game as well. And they end up buying us, I think, 6 or 7 more shots each. And bro, that night, oh my God, I was fucked that night. You made jokes about me being an alcoholic last year, bro. That's nothing compared to this shit. So yeah, I don't really remember what happened when I said goodbye to them. My friend says that I made out with one of the woman. I was like, I don't remember that, but yeah, sure, I'll take it. And that's to give you an idea how fucked I was. I don't remember shit. And I was like, all right, this is fine. I stumbled back to my apartment, and then what do I do? Oh yeah, I threw up in the sink, and then, okay, this is a horrible, disgusting story. This is the last thing I'm going to say. I can say more in the next video, but, or if I do another one. But I got back to my apartment, threw up in the sink, and then was kind of like, there's still a lot of crap in me. I kind of need the loo. So I went to take a shit, and this is at about midnight, and I had a train at 9 in the morning to catch to go to Berlin, 12-hour train. Thought, oh, you know what, I'll recover on the train. Anyway, go to the loo at midnight, wake up butt naked on the bathroom floor at 6 a.m. I'd passed out for 6 hours, and I woke up, realised I'd been taking a shit, and finished wiping. That is a grim story. I don't think I can top as disgusting of that in my life, really. Or yet, anyway. I'm sure I'll do something worse, when I'm a bit older. But, yeah. So then I stumbled out, caught the train, 12-hour train to Berlin, and throughout Germany, I had to wear a mask the whole time, and I hadn't really been shaving, so it was really itchy because I had like a bit of stubble on my face. Ugh, horrible. But yeah, that concludes that nuts festival. I might have rushed it a bit, but I still managed to do it for about 18 minutes of this video. I do want to talk more about Berlin and then Amsterdam, which is where I went after that, because they got some funny stories from there. However, though, just thought I'd tell you guys a bit about my summer, about some of the shit we got up to. I wouldn't recommend doing some of the stuff I did. Got me in not a great state, but yeah, what can I say? You only live once. Anyway, thank you all very much for listening, if you still are. I hope you have a great day, and see ya.